Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. This is Soji. Um, Welcome to Soji Forex. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for staying through and for supporting our channel by subscribing, liking our videos, commenting, and by sharing it with your loved ones. Thank you for the show of love. Thank you for the support. And if this is your first time of coming across our video, we'll encourage that you go through the videos in the channel so that you will be able to take maximum advantage of everything that we have put in place on this channel. So in our previous video we talked about liquidity, and we said liquidity in the forex market referred to as money. So liquidity is money. Liquidity is money. So when you see liquidity, what should cross your mind is money. So liquidity is money. And we talked about how we can identify liquidity, and we said basically we have two major types of liquidity. We said we have the static liquidity, and then we say we have dynamic liquidity. And we give an illustration by saying that the static liquidity are liquidity that are fixed at a particular zone. For example, you have a support and resistance. A market is in a ranging state. You will always buy from here, and your stop loss is below. You will sell from up. You will sell from here, and your stop loss is somewhere here. Okay. And then we say most of the time what this market does, it will come down, break your stop loss, return back, and then went to the upside. Okay, so this is static liquidity. And we said dynamic liquidity, for instance, if we are having a trend line, then we see the market moving up and down, okay, giving us higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Okay, and then we said anytime market comes to this structural point, we buy. Our stop loss is at the low, and you realize that at times the market will come, break the structural point, and then you think that okay, it's about to sell. You enter your sell here again after taking the buyers out, then it will go, and then they'll say, oh, it's going now, this is going to be a retest before it will keep on coming down. And unfortunately, to still take them up and go to the upside. So this is liquidity sweep in a dynamic way. It is not a fixed location. So we've established as well, and then we say that in the internal liquidity, where in the static liquidity, we said we have internal static liquidity and external static liquidity. So what we want to look at today is internal static liquidity and external static liquidity. But remember, when we say something is static, it means it's relatively constant. Talking about something like this. And we say we have internal static liquidity. Okay, and then we have the external static liquidity. So a typical example of an internal static liquidity is, for example, you see a market going up, to come down and then do something like this and then go up and then go up and then go up. So what we are seeing here, this is a low, this is a high, lower low, higher high. Okay, then here we have something like lower low, then we have higher high, right? Sorry, we have higher low. I beg your pardon, higher low, higher low. Okay, so now at this point, what happens here is what we are referring to as internal static liquidity. Internal static liquidity, because it happens inside the structural movement. So there is a liquidity that is staying up here, and there is a liquidity that is staying down here at the same level. Okay, so this is what we regard as internal static liquidity, and at times it can be in this way, maybe it will come, do something like this, come down, then go up. So here is the liquidity we are talking about. Okay, let me make it a bit clearer. To go high, to come here, and then come down, and then go up. Now if you look at this, you see this is a dynamic internal liquidity. It is dynamic because it is not static, but it is internal. It is being formed inside a structural point. Okay, because now this is our higher low, this is our higher high, right? Now this is another higher low, this is another higher low, and this dynamic is formed inside the structure. So this is dynamic liquidity, but it is an internal type of it. And then you can see how swift and how it plays out. Okay, then now let's look at external. Let's look at static external liquidity. You can see that it will start like this. Okay, see market going, it will reach up here, and then it will do something like this, and then before you know, it will come down and go up, to come down and then do something like this and then go up. So what is happening here is an external static liquidity. You see that it will be happening like a range in a particular direction. So it is referred to as external static liquidity. Okay, so in a structure you'll be seeing like some little structural movement. All of that is part of what build up to this liquidity we are talking about. So the concept of liquidity is very important for you to trade in a smart way. You need to identify area of liquidity. And for if in an uptrend or in a bullish move where market is doing higher high, lower, higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, higher high. Here now, this is our low, this is our high, this is our higher low, this is our higher high, this is our higher low, this is our higher high, this is our higher low. Now what is happening at this structural point is that in an uptrend, when market is in an uptrend, when the market is bullish, such as we are seeing now, the market should only capture liquidity at the upside. Now what am I trying to say? In this bullish move, this market is supposed to capture the liquidity at the high side. That is why when it comes down, it moves up. It takes away this liquidity here. But it should not take the liquidity of the downside. That is the liquidity of the low. Liquidity in the higher low should not be taken. The liquidity in the higher low should not be taken. But the liquidity of the upside, you see now, it came down, okay, build up, and then take away this high. So in an uptrend, it is expected that the external liquidity of the upside should be taken, but that of this downside should not, for any reason, be taken at all. Okay? The liquidity of the downside should not be taken at all. Should not be taken at any cost. Right? So that is the point that we need to know. And if the market is in a downtrend, okay, that is, this is a low, this is a high, then we have lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower high, and then we have a lower low. Now the rule implies that in a downtrend, that is a bearish market, the market should only take liquidity of the lower low. Liquidity of the downside should be captured. See, it went, moved down, captured this liquidity at this point. It came down again, captured the liquidity at this point. So liquidity of the downside, which is the lower low, is what should be captured, not liquidity of the lower high. So the liquidity of the upside should not be captured, but that of the downside is what is permitted to be captured. Let's take a good example and see what this market is doing. Now, looking at this, you see the market came down, went up, okay, make a low, okay, it make this low. Now something happens here, because here was our structural point. So let's do it this way. Let's label it. This is a low, this is a high, lower low, right? But now see what happened. When the market came down here, price moved up, taking away this particular high here. You can see the impulsiveness of this candle, showing us that the goal of this candle is to take the liquidity of this high. So here we have a downtrend and then a dynamic internal liquidity was taken. Why did I say so? This is a top, this is another one. So you can draw a trend line. You say you are a trend line price action trader. Then you see how this market went. It took away all the trade in that region. So there is a dynamic internal liquidity that was taken at that point. A dynamic internal liquidity was taken at that point. Okay, so this dynamic internal liquidity was taken. That is point number one being established. Then having now, here now becomes our low, here now becomes our high, here becomes lower low. Okay, here now becomes our low, here becomes our high, here becomes our lower low, higher high, lower low. So in this scenario, only the liquidity at this downside is permitted to be taken in a downtrend. Liquidity of the upside is not permitted to be taken. So what we see here, you see the market move, did not close above here. It came down, took the liquidity of this side, took it away. So this is how the system is meant to be. And then after this liquidity sweep, the market came back here to mitigate this other block, that banker's block. That is where this liquidity was taken from. And so in the subsequent video, we'll now be looking at liquidity and mitigation concept. We'll look at liquidity. After this liquidity is being taken, what next happen? So we now look at our liquidity and mitigation concept. I don't intend this video to be long, So on your own, I want you to go through your chart, identify areas of liquidity, so that's static or dynamic, internal or external. Once you are able to identify this, then we'll discuss subsequently about the mitigation areas and how you can take advantage of it. I believe you are getting value from this video. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. See you in the subsequent video.